impact on COVID is a result of challenges that we have had. And of course, if government is not able to raise enough revenue, it will affect every sector of the economy. That has been clearly put out there. So today we want to look at one key engine of growth in this country, which has been abandoned or left to follow, or we have not been able to do targeted programs to exploit the opportunities in that sector. And I'm referring to the agri sector. We know that in many countries, the agri sector has propelled economic growth. Apart from farmers who will be making money, the industrial sector depends on this area where they add value to products. Export is seen to be growing in many of these countries where some of these things are well managed. But in Ghana, we approach the sector with piecemeal methods or policies, and that's how I want to put it. And so today our focus will be there. We'll be speaking to two key personalities. The Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, the Executive Secretary will join us, Dr. Nyaba will join us. And of course, we are also speaking to Yao Edupoku, is the convener of the Rice Millers Association of Ghana. He's a rice processor. He's into rice and soya bean. He is with me here in the studio. I want to welcome him, and then we'll delve into the topical issues that you would want to also show your opinion on. Sir, you're welcome, and thanks for joining us again on Ideas Exchange.
Thank you very much for having me here.
How does it feel like as a farmer and looking around, and it appears as if the land is just allowed to follow? We are not doing too much industrialization in terms of mechanized farming, and Ghanaians themselves.
The land that creates it, not the minerals like gold and diamond, but food is what makes the people get up in the morning and are able to go out there. But we pay lip service to agriculture in Ghana because we have one of the best arable lands in the world. So wherever you put a seed, it grows and you can harvest. And because of that, we don't really take our time and take farming seriously in this country. To me, it is lip service. Year in, year out, government go, government come is the same story. This is what we are facing as a country. And this is what wakes me up and I feel sad.
Good. And your introductory remark makes me feel like this will be an exciting topic. What I want to do at this stage is to walk us through what I have put together as a preamble. It is going to look at the potential of the agri sector. I made reference to some quotations in the 2022 budget, the allocations government has put out there, and I'm looking at this with specific reference to an issue that appears to be trending, and that is most likely to truncate what government may have projected as investment in the agri sector, and that's the e-levy, because government admits that this economy is in crisis, and government in its own rhetoric is suggesting that the e-levy will give it some breathing space. It was looking at 1.75. Government says, if I want to put that before Parliament again, if the old one is withdrawn, I am looking at 1.5%. Obviously, it means that the projections, or in terms of allocations to the various sectors, will definitely reduce if government really is not committed to improving those sectors. And so I'll read along with you what I've put together. And it says, in the 2022 budget, government intends to spend 614 million cedis. That's about $98 million on its flagship Planting for Food and Jobs. I singled out this because that appears to be what is trending. This is an increase of 39% from the 439 million cedis or $70 million in 2021, and is expected to have a corresponding increase in the number of targeted beneficiaries and also help clear all outstanding debts. This also constitutes 59% of the total budget for the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, whose total allocation for 2022 is 1.1 billion cedis. Now, what is in there for Planting for Food and Jobs? Data available indicates that in 2017, for example, beneficiaries were up to 577,000 farmers, and that is how it grew from about 200,000 to 577,000 in 2018. Now, Send Ghana has put out an interesting research. It says that Ghana may appear not to be reaping the dividends in terms of food production because what government is doing is not targeting the intended beneficiaries, and so we may not get it. And so, for example, it says, until government pays distributors of agro inputs on time and adequate inputs are transported to the districts before planting season begins, what government is spending may go waste. The Agric Ministry again is expected to disburse 50 million cedis through the Tree Crop Development Authority and 27 million cedis on the development of the Pualugu Multi-Purpose Dam. These are expected to increase food and livestock production, which will in turn support the school feeding program as well as the provision of food for students in senior high schools under the free SHS program. Now, I've put out some questions there, and I want to share with you. First of all, are these ambitious? Will government be able to raise the money? Is it mere sloganeering? Are investments since 2017 yielding real results with the impact on the local market and the pockets of poor farmers? Is targeting being done properly? What are real challenges, and are they being addressed? And are capital stakeholders, that's our critical stakeholders, making input, or government is merely implementing its own policy? And that's why we have the Peasant Farmers Association joining us, and then we have the Rice Millers Association of Ghana in the name of Eduyao with us in the studio. And then we also have one more interesting question. What is the way forward? Now, this will form the basis of our conversation today. Now, Yawedu, let's take it one by one. Planting for food, rearing for food, and we have rearing or planting for export and all the terminologies that have come up. 2017 to 2022 is almost 4 years plus. I'm taking out 2017 because it was the process of implementing a fine idea or a baby by government. From where we have started and where we are, looking at the time frame, would you say we have made much progress?
The candid opinion from me is that I don't see it, period. We started planting for food and jobs. Money has been spent in, and we expect to see it at the street level. Are we feeling it? Is it really there? That is the question we should be asking ourselves. You take food, which is a national security issue, and food is basically grains and tubers, and then you bring the tree crops. That is what makes food available to the country. To me, if this program has been crafted to target specific areas of agriculture, we would have seen the results.
When you talk about specific areas of agriculture, what really are you zeroing in on?
Ghana basically consumes 3 major products. That is grains, tubers. You go to the tubers, you have yam, and then you have cassava. And then you have, say, plantain. Then you go to the grains, you have maize, which is the king, and then followed closely is rice now, before other grains like millet, sorghum, and beans. It tells you a story. When we were growing up, we did not know rice. Rice was not part of our diet. It was something that was imported into the system.
I remember that was 1983, during the period of hunger, when the US government, for example, was trying to support us. And that was when they introduced us to the yellow corns and the rice in the form of grain came in, and gradually we appear to have the taste for it.
So here we are. Now rice has overtaken cassava and is neck to neck with maize. So it tells you a serious story. But a greater percentage of rice that we eat in this country is imported. So it tells you that we are failing in that sector.
Now, we'll go into the rice area because as the convener of the Rice Millers Association of Ghana, you can't be on this platform and we leave out much of the conversation, especially with reference to the rice sector, looking at the import-export parity ratio. But let's first of all look at this initiative by government.
Yeah.
The agri sector appears not to have had enough injection in terms of capital over the years. And then government says that we have identified this sector as a fine area where we can create opportunities. So the baby planting for food and jobs was born. It was launched in the Bono Afro region.
Yes.
This is one of the food baskets of this country. And at the time it was being launched, I remember very well, government said they were going to target many of the staples that we find on our table.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that the plan or the implementation process was wrong and so monies have gone waste?
This is the way I will put it. Do we feel it on the dinner table? That is obviously where it should end. If you go to buy your kenke and the price you bought it in 2018 is the same price in 2022, then you know that it has succeeded. But if you go to buy your kenke 2018, which was about, say, 50 pesos or 1 cedi, and it's now 2 cedis, then it tells you the story clearly, whether the program did succeed or not. That's the way I will answer
When the program was launched 4 years ago, what were your expectations?
The expectation was that this time around, we've got someone who really is passionate and understands agriculture. So we were all euphoric, we were all excited to be part of this grand scheme. But down along the line, we realized that there are some gaps that needs to be filled. Not rhetorics, no slogan, but real situations has to be addressed. And this I found wanting. And so price of the staple dice keeps on rising. So if it's rising, then I will also put a counter question to you. Has the planting for food and jobs succeeded? That is the question.
You are in the industry. How differently would you have loved to see this initiative? Because if you look at the 2022 budget, government is going to pump a whopping, and if I want to get the figures right, a whopping $70 million. Sorry, a whopping $98 million, which is allocated to this particular initiative, planting for food and jobs, in the 2022 budget. This is
woefully
614 million cedis. Woefully inadequate, but
inadequate.
Huge in terms of where we are now. If you look at 2017 budgetary allocation, 2018 budgetary allocation, 2019, 2020, 2021, and you put all together, that is big money. And so if for you as a stakeholder in the industry, your summary is that it has not brought us the dividend, then why should I, the taxpayer, be waving my handkerchief about what has happened?
That is the question. That is the question. Is it a system failure or something? Because I'll once again draw attention to this. If we import over 900 million to $1 billion US of only rice, and you put 90 million into the agriculture sector, I think we are joking. I think we are not serious.
So it is not necessarily a policy failure in terms of implementation, but perhaps a result of the woefully inadequate capital injection. Is it fair for me to conclude? And so we cannot blame government necessarily for throwing our money away. Is it a fair conclusion?
I would not say throwing your money away. I would say that the preparation is not good enough. That is the way I would put it.
How do you want to see it?
We should target some crops that is in everyday use in the country.
Like?
We everyday use maize, we use beans, and we use rice. We use cassava, we use plantain. These are the basics for food in this country. Whatever you do, within a week, either you touch maize or you touch rice or you touch cassava. This is the staple diet of the people. So as a country, if you're looking at food security, these are the things you touch first. You're looking at the nutritional level of the people. You're looking at the health sector also of the people. And food is what brings in health challenges vis-a-vis nutrition. So if proper food is given out, then you cut down your hospital bills. Is that what is happening? To me, it's not.
If that is not what is happening, and at a time when we have a country that appears to be struggling because we are competing with the import of cheap foreign produce, either manufactured or coming in as raw, from chicken products to vegetables to grains to products that have seen some added value. And then we have your likes on the market who are also competing with this. How do you expect us to take advantage of the opportunities available, regardless of how much government is pumping in?
You see, across the West African sub-region, you take a country like Côte d'Ivoire. They, right from the beginning, got the agriculture sector right. Whether it's cash crop or food crop, they got it right. They did cash crop for export and made sure food crop was available so that food will have a very stable environment to grow. And because of that, you go, ateke is all the time available, and ateke is from cassava. And you go for aloko, that is plantain, red plantain. Every day, an Ivorian will eat red plantain, fried. They call it aloko. And by the close of the day, they've eaten ateke, and the price has remained stable. It can remain stable for, let's say, 5 years. This is what I call good planning. You cut across to Nigeria. Just about 3 weeks ago, the president of Nigeria went to inaugurate the Refund project, where we saw pyramids of rice. How did it get about? It was simple. They realized the budgetary allocation to imports of this essential
regardless
commodity.
of a policy by government to ban the importation of rice. But that played a major factor, and the population of Nigeria was an added advantage compared to Ghana.
What they did was that they realized that the people need that commodity, and they could not cut it off immediately. So what they did was that they resourced the farmers. And this time it was not government, it was the Central Bank of Nigeria that did it. They cut off the government away, and then the central bank governor took it upon himself. So they pumped money into rice farming, and at the same time selected some businesses and grew up the rice mills. At the time the rice was available and was ready, they closed their borders. They closed their borders, but they knew that they would be able to sustain the
production.
Exactly. And so overnight, within 3 months, all rice in Nigeria was gone. And before we could say, Jack, we found them in Ghana, coming to buy our paddy rice, not our milled rice, our paddy rice, to go and feed their factories so that they will create employment there. This is a deliberate government policy that targeted food security. This is what we are lacking here. So it becomes a lip service approach. And then we put a stipend into the budget and say, this is it. It will not work. As I sit here, I know it will not work. But then, the big men who have the brains, who have the knowledge, who have the know-how, will tell you that $90 million will do it. It won't do it.
Now, associations like yours, Rice Millers Association of Ghana, you are an executive member of the, or let me say, you are an off-taker of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. We'll be speaking to Dr. Charles Nyaba, who is the executive director of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, in the course of this conversation. But we are looking at a critical moment in Ghana's development. Sometimes they say necessity is the mother of invention. And so I am situating the topic strategically. So I'm saying agri sector under crashed economy, threats and opportunities. So today we all admit Ghana's economy is in crisis. Government admits that we have a huge challenge. The rating agencies have put us where they conclude we are. The World Bank has been speaking recently. Moody's has come out with its latest report. And in as much as government wants us to believe that the economy is not in a mess as many people admit today it is, we believe that we should begin to look at areas where many would say are following, and so we should have a focused strategic plan to improve them. If you look at this agri sector, you want to look at the rural economy. You want to look at opportunities for industrialization. You want to look at how you can balance the import-export ratio, for example. What would you say should be the strategic focus of any government that is serious about charting a fast-paced development going forward?
You see, at the bottom line is food on the table. And food on the table means the nutritional benefits that you get and the protein that will enhance the health of the people. So you do a pick and choose. For example, we have cashew all over the country, but we have cocoa board. And we all know that cocoa board works par excellence than the cashew and other tree crops. Why? Because focus has been on the cocoa industry. So should focus be on the food industry that will feed this country and create food